What's up, guys? It's Aaron Impens. Today, we're going to talk about rental properties. I'm going to break down a deal for you, give you a little example of a property that I own, show you the numbers, give you the details. Providing only it's got a good roof. The interior here is not. So, like I said, we're going to go through a rental property of mine and the details about it, okay? One thing that I want to encourage you guys to do when you're out getting started or buying investment real estate is to set some criteria for yourself. When I say criteria, I mean, I don't necessarily just mean what kind of return that it's going to give to you on your money. That's important and definitely something you should take into consideration, but also the type of property. You know, are you looking for a single family home? Are you looking for duplexes, multifamilies, commercial, storage units? You know, set that criteria for yourself and determine which one is going to be the best fit for you. Today, we're going to go over a duplex that I own, okay? So it's a 3-bed, 2-bath duplex, okay? So that's 2 sides. Let me give you a little bit more of the details about it. It was in Lincoln, Nebraska that I bought it. It was a little bit more of a newer construction home that I bought from somebody that built it, got about 70% of the way through, and then ended up not being able to finish for whatever reason. So I was able to buy that from them, and we were able to finish. So here's the details, okay? So we'll say the purchase price for all intensive purposes here is my purchase price plus rehab, okay? So that was $150,000. So we got purchase price. $150,000. Whoops. Okay. So at a typical standard bank loan, you're going to need to put 20% down. All right. So we got 20% down, which is $30,000. Okay. So now we're going to end up getting a loan amount for $120,000. So loan amount, $120,000. Pretty straightforward so far, right? Total purchase, $150,000, 20% down, total loan, $120,000. Pretty easy. So at my bank, I can get a 4.5% interest, 4.5% interest loan. Okay, so that's on a 5-year balloon, and it's also on a 20-year amortization. Okay, now let me tell you what a 5-year balloon is. So what this means is you're going to have a fixed rate for the first 5 years of your loan. Okay, and after that 5 years, your loan is going to balloon, which means one of 2 things. Well, actually it means one thing. You owe what's left. Okay, after that 5 years, you're likely going to go to that same bank and say, hey, let's refinance this for another 5 years or 10 years, or hell, maybe you'll even pay it off. I don't know, but that's what that means. So the first 5 years, you get your fixed interest rate. After that, it's going to adjust, or you're going to have to pay it off. The 20-year amortization is that's how long your loan is going to be amortized out. So your payments are going to be based on if you have that loan for 20 years. You can change this based on the criteria that you want. You can have it shorter, you can have it longer. Most banks aren't going to go over 30 years, but and even on commercial loans, a lot of times it's going to be tough to find a 30-year amortized loan for a property like this anyways. So I like anywhere from 15 to 20, so we're going to use 20 on this example. So what does that break down to payment-wise? Just so we have it written down, okay? I'm going to run out of room here, so I'm going to end up having to erase some of this stuff, but your payment is going to be, let's see, $759.18 each month, okay? So that's principal and interest, principal and interest. So that doesn't include any taxes or insurance or anything else. Principal and interest, which is a total of $9,110.15 a year. Okay. This is your standard way of purchasing an investment property. You're going to find a property with a purchase price, you're going to put 20% down, and you're going to get a loan. The loan's going to look a lot like this. 4.5%, 5-year balloon on a 20-year amortization. It's going to come up, this will be your total P&I, principal and interest is what P&I stands for the year. Okay? So I'm going to erase some of this stuff and we'll start going through the details of how it looks and what that breaks down to on the income side. Okay, I'm just going to put some key notes back up here for you guys to remember. Total P&I, let's see, down payment, $30,000. Total P&I for the year, it's going to be $9,110.15. Okay. Now remember, that's on the pretty standard loan, 4.5% interest, 5-year balloon, 20-year amort. So let's talk about the income. Okay, so this duplex, again, it's a 3-bed, 2-bath duplex on both sides. Each side rents for $1,000 a month. So total income then is going to be $24,000 a year. Okay, assuming it's all occupied 100% of the year. So let's just go with that when we're estimating a property. We'll account for some vacancy coming in after that. So that's the total potential income. It's $24,000 per year. Okay. So like I said, we're going to account for some vacancy now. So I like to account for 5% vacancy. 5% of the income, vacancy. So that comes to $1,200. Okay. So now we've got total income. We've got some vacancy that we're accounting for. What else do we need to account for along the way? Well, I can promise you, over the lifetime of you owning a rental property, something is going to break. Whether it be a toilet leaking or furnace going out or needing to replace carpet, things like that, something's going to break. You're going to need to account for some repairs and some maintenance that are going into that, as well as taxes and insurance. Unfortunately, you have to pay the taxes every year, and if you've got a loan, you also have to carry insurance. So I could go through each specific of those details, you know, what that breaks down to, but overall, what I like to estimate is somewhere between, you know, 30 to 40%. Okay, so all of the taxes, insurance, repairs, maintenance, CapEx, management, those types of expenses, you can estimate is going to be around 30 to 40% of your overall income. So for this instance, let's go with 35% expenses. So this is everything except for the cost of money. So everything except for your principal and interest. Okay, so that comes to $8,400. So your gross potential income, let me write that in here, it's $24,000. Minus your vacancy that you should account for, minus your expenses that you should account for. What's that give you? $14,400. It's pretty good. Well, what is that $14,400? Well, it's your NOI, okay? If you don't know what NOI means, it stands for net operating income. So your income minus your expenses gives you your NOI. If you didn't have a loan, this is how much money you would make on this property every single year. Okay, $14,400 NOI. Okay, so we have a loan on this property. We've invested some money. We've put some of our own money down into the property, $30,000 in this case. So we want to figure out what our net cash flow before taxes is. Okay, because remember, we spend this every month. So let's figure out what our net cash flow before taxes is. Obviously, that's going to be pretty simple. You're going to take your $14,400 NOI minus $9,110.15 P&I, principal and interest. And that's going to get you $5,000, I'll check my notes, $289.85. Okay, that's your net cash flow before expenses. So this overall property that we've just done here, this is your net cash flow before taxes. Okay, let's go over this one more time real quick. Potential income, 24,000 minus your vacancy, minus your estimated expenses, gets you your NOI. That's everything minus the cost of money, or except for the cost of money, excuse me. So to figure out your net cash flow before taxes, it's going to be your NOI minus your principal and interest. Get you this. This is how much money you made on that property in a year's worth of time, assuming all of these numbers go as projected. Okay? So your net cash flow, $5,289.85. Is that good? Is that bad? How do you determine that? So one way to determine that, or to decide if that's good or bad, is to calculate your cash on cash return. So let's go ahead and go over, and I'll show you how to do the cash on cash return. All right, so I left a few key points up here, okay? So just to recap again real quick, purchase price $150, down payment of $30,000. This is your principal and interest on a 4.5% 20-year AM loan, okay? We determined that our NOI is going to be $14,400, and after our cost of money, this is how much money we were going to make, our net cash flow before taxes. Now we want to figure out what the cash on cash return is. So let me explain what cash on cash return means. So we've invested $30,000 of our own hard cash, okay? It's come out of our bank account and been put down on this property. So it is invested into the property. We want to determine what kind of return we are seeing on that $30,000. For instance, if I left this $30,000 in my bank account, it's going to give me about a 1% return because it's in a savings account, okay? So we want to know, is that money that we've invested getting a good return, better than your savings account, maybe better than the stock market or an IRA or a 401k. So here's how we figure that out, okay? You take your net cash flow before taxes, which is $5,289.85, and you divide that by your down payment, which is $30,000 in our case. So net cash flow before taxes divided by your down payment gets you 0.1763 and whatever else that goes. Okay, so what does that mean to you? So as a percentage, if you take this as a percentage, that would be a 17.63% cash on cash. 17.63%. That means, with all these numbers coming true, your $30,000 that you have invested is making you a return of 17.63%. I don't know about you guys, but that is a spectacular return on that money. I couldn't put that in my bank account and make that kind of return. I would have a really hard time doing that even in the stock market with a 401k or an IRA or equities or any mutual funds, things like that. You know, those average anywhere from 6 to 9%. This is a great return. This is one of the reasons why real estate is a great avenue for you to invest your money into, okay? This is protected by an actual physical asset, and giving you this kind of return is something that you don't want to turn away from. One thing that I'll say is, you'll notice all of this numbers. This is what I do when I look at properties, okay? Whether it's a single family or a duplex in this case, or even a big multifamily, I do these exact same calculations. I figure out what my gross potential income is, which we talked about earlier was $24,000. I take away my vacancy and my expenses, which totaled around 40% of the income there, okay? Gets me my NOI, determine what my money's gonna cost me. This is the process that I go through to decide what kind of money I'm making on my money invested. Now, I've said before, and I'll say it again, you want to set yourself some criteria, okay? If you want a cash on cash return of less than that, that's fine. That just means that you could pay more for a property like this, which may give you an advantage out there in the real estate world. Maybe you want a better cash on cash return than that. Maybe you want 20%. Again, that's fine. You're going to pay less, or you're going to have to get better cost of money, something along those lines. Set yourself some criteria of what you want that to be, the type of property and the type of return that you want to make. I can tell you that anywhere from 10% return and up is probably good. This is what I look for, 10% or above. That's the type of criteria that I want to see, because I know that I definitely can't get that in my savings account, and it's tough to do in the stock market as well. That's one of the reasons why I invest in real estate, and I make sure and explain that to you so you can take this information, and when you're looking at properties, plug these equations in and figure it out. All right, guys, I'm Aaron Impens. This is how I evaluate a rental property, and cash on cash is a good way to evaluate yours as well. I hope this brought some value to you. If it did and you want to learn some more or get some more tips or knowledge or experience from me, make sure you tune back in, smash that subscribe button so you know when something new comes out, and give me some likes, and we'll see you guys next time.